Fresh and funky. Where'd you go? You a candy bar?
No,
Oh.
I don't eat candy bars.
Okay.
Only if they're from Andy Frisella.
Yeah, I saw you eat Andy Frisella's candy bar. Andy Frisella, you know you have candy bars?
$12.25.
There's too much sugar in them, Andy. You need to take out 2 grams of sugar.
Friday, February 8th. Podcast episode 36. Yesterday,
We had Pierre in here.
It was a pretty good episode, man.
That was all right. You know.
Did you? No, I listened to it. It's pretty good.
Pierre takes up too much space.
He takes up some. Gabby, can you hear us? Gabby, can you hear me? I think we need to move Gabby's office in here.
In the corner over there by the lights?
She's a little chippy, a little too chipper and too cheerful. Like she's getting too much sunlight. We need to bring her in here artificial.
Artificial?
Bring her down to the artificial.
It will only be cool if we bring 2 crickets in here too.
2 crickets. And we're not going to be able to fit a desk in here, so she's going to have to work on top of one of these tubs. So
I was
when we
actually
podcast. She's just going to have to lean down a little bit.
I was actually thinking a small bucket, and then we give her one of those the stools that come in the old military desk sets.
Yeah,
and then she can just work on that.
I like it. That's good. So we're going to knock this out here.
Oh, here we go.
This is yesterday's podcast because we actually just talked and did our own thing.
With Pierre, yeah.
She used her pussy to get jobs. Laugh my ass off. We should troll her with that line. Way to go, Skully. Keep it up. Love these videos. Who used the pussy?
Kamala Harris.
Every woman.
So, well, Kamala Harris.
What does a Kamala Harris even look like? What do I need to picture? I picture Maxine Waters.
No, way younger. She's young. I want to say she's
Kamal.
In her early 40s, maybe late 30s, I think. Anyways, it's a known fact that the 60... Well, he's older than that now. So basically, the senator has already dimed her out. This is his story, not my story, not Kamala Harris. This is his story. He was 60, she was 30. They started banging, and while they were banging, he started giving her committee jobs. So basically, right out the get-go, that was illegal. You can't trade pussy for jobs. And that is how she got to where she is, because she's been fucking all these old dudes.
It'd be cheaper if you could just trade pussy for money.
Probably. Well, no. I mean, she went from...
I'm talking about the average man.
She got a 6-figure salary right after giving up the pussy.
That's what I'm saying. It'd be cheaper for him had he just been...
Oh, yeah. It would have been a lot cheaper if he had just been
drugs
like,
and welfare
$20.
have ruined generations. While I agree with you, I do remember my grandfather. Keep in mind, guys, they were saying that Elvis Presley was the downfall of Christianity and the downfall of society. And now people talk about Elvis Presley and, just shit like that. Like, every generation looks down on the future generation for sure. Right? You got anything to add?
No, I mean, if you...
That
if you
dance, it's the devil's dance.
If you do any, like nonpartisan research outside of, I don't want to say... just outside of the norm, like look up cocaine or look up heroin and look that stuff up, like 1832, 1900. The drug problem and drug epidemic that is in this country has really always been here. Now, outside of
we see it more because we can tweet
communicate. Yeah, we see it more because we can tweet it and we can communicate it more. I mean, San Francisco, right? Everybody's in uproar because
the BART.
All the fucking dope dealers all the people doing heroin on the streets and shit. That's nothing new. The fucking Chinese used to have opium dens. The only difference is property is at such a high value in San Francisco that you can't have a trap house anymore. And because you can't have a trap house in San Francisco anymore, and it's also the place where you fucking give drug users needles.
Free shit. Of
course they're going to be lined up on the street taking shits in the corner and fucking sleeping in your rose bushes. You did it to yourself. The actual, this was a couple years ago, but the mayor of San Francisco was talking about how Silicon Valley actually has kind of fucked San Francisco up because the cost of living in San Francisco is so high now that how do you get ordinary stuff done? So when you say Silicon Valley, it's awesome. Everybody's
you can see how they do it. Just like in Dubai. You bring them in and you take their passports and you put 50 of them in a hotel room. I mean...
Everybody's a computer program. Somebody's taking out the trash. Somebody's cleaning up the fucking dog shit out in front of the building. That person is not getting paid 6 figures. So that person is driving from an exuberant amount of way. So if you hippies keep getting your way and pretty soon we ban vehicles, you're going to have to clean up your own poop and you're not going to like it.
Think about, too, like, heroin was invented to combat opium addiction. Cocaine came around to combat heroin addiction. They finally actually made a safe one, and now they'll tell you that'll kill you too. They fucking came up. Bayer stopped producing cocaine and switched all their manufacturing into Bayer aspirin. Now it doesn't do anything. Like there are no fucking positive gains from it. Of course, you're not going to have motherfuckers chewing it up and fucking robbing your neighbor's house for it. But all the greats through histories, all of your great people through history, Leonardo da Vinci, fucking all of your artists, all of your fucking politicians, they were all using performance enhancing chemicals. Think about that. Like everything those guys in that generational money and the elite, they all use substances to peak their performance and mental capacities, perhaps, that is now illegal for you to do. Do you think they're not doing it? You think those family? Of course they're fucking doing it. You hear about it all the time. Sometimes it goes sideways. Sometimes if they're able to use those substances under control, fucking they break some neural boundary or something crazy fucking happens and they're able to perform at a higher level until fucking something happens, and then, then it's a problem that we're talking about.
Yeah, they used to use cocaine for
it was in baby cough syrup.
Alcoholics. You would dose cocaine for alcoholics so they would stop drinking so much. And whenever you hear like westerns or anything, when you talk about like laudanum is just cocaine.
They had Coca wine. Coca-Cola originally did not make Coca-Cola. It was Coke wine. It was wine with cocaine in it.
Yeah, originally it had cocaine in it.
If you have any of those old pharmaceutical bottles like that, or old Coke wine bottles, I'd like to have. I'll trade you shit for them. I would just like to have them in my collection. You ever heard of meat juice?
Well, not in the term you're probably going to use. But go ahead.
There was
juice.
I haven't really looked in. I've seen some bottles that say meat juice come up recently on the market several times recently, and from what I haven't dug too deep into it, but it was a man who had a wife who couldn't digest properly, so he actually took meat and boiled it down and bottled this shit, and it had all the nutrients and shit of meat, but it was meat juice.
Oh man, I bet that tasted horrible.
But I love the like baby cough syrup with the skull and crossbones on them and shit. Yeah. If you have any of that, if you grandma passed away and you're like, what am I going to do with this shit?
John loves it.
I love that crazy shit. If you got anything fucking creepy or crazy, we'll trade you some shit for that stuff. I love that stuff. 20 dudes and some farm animals in a shower. Now that's a party. How they roll in Tennessee. Edwo.
Puffy jackets too.
Puffy jackets and Kim lights. You got
the biggest puffy jackets you can get.
It started off. They're like, "How big do you want this shower?" I'm like, "I want 20 bitches and a dude and 20 bitches in puffy coats with some furry Ugg boots and a goat." And because the goat's just there for the shock value, like a goat. Yeah. They were okay up to the goat part. Goat's not for me. Goat's for those 19 bitches. Please talk about Jade Helm and other operations like that. Love everything you guys do, from the gear you make to the knowledge you drop. Keep that shit up, because people need to know. People need what you have to offer, even if they don't know it yet. That's it. We have something for everybody, but even if you don't exchange money with us, we've got some knowledge. But just keep in mind, like, a lot of this is our opinions. I mean, of course, our opinions are always right. But like, you guys come back with some knowledge that we don't have. We just have a piece of the puzzle. We have 2 pieces of the puzzle that might not even be from the same puzzle, and we're just hitting them with a hammer trying to make them fit. You guys fill the fucking pieces in. Teach us something.
I know you don't want to hear this. I know you don't want to hear this.
It's existed forever.
I really know you don't want to hear this. But Jade Helms is it's just an army operation. All they're doing is trying to get as many pieces of the U.S. Army working at the same time, and that requires a lot of real estate.
It's just like Cobra Gold was on a rim pack, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just an exercise. It's not the Army trying to fucking take over the United States or anything like that. Just this last Jade Helm's operation, I have a very good friend who is in the Army. He's a Special Forces operator and was part of the Jade Helm's operation. And at the highest level, so he was doing operations and planning for that, and the whole time he's down there, he's bitching about how stupid and about how uncoordinated everybody is, and how ineffective the Army is at working together. Not, oh my God, this is a plan to take over the United States. I'm sorry, guys, it's just an Army operation. It's not nothing.
The SF guys would really be a big part of the problem in taking over the United States, because those guys are kind of free thinkers, and really they're on our side. Go ahead.
It is the reason why the military is being dumbed down. Unfortunately, your liberal side
and law enforcement,
your liberal side of the house has to dumb down the meat eater side of everything. They have to,
because they can't control them.
They can't control it. So when when people talk about, like, and I get it, you want answers, but when people talk about like World Trade Center or Oklahoma City, and they take it into that realm of secret governments, the problem is the guys that are going to do those operations, the guys that are actually going to fly into Pakistan and kill Bin Laden, they're fucking meat eaters, man. They're meat eaters. They have an American flag out in front of their house, and it would be a fucking serious problem for that kind of operation. Meaning, you'd already know about it, especially if it was the SEALs, because they would have wrote a book about it, had a fucking had a kill Bin Laden workout video. I mean, you would already know it. But they're meat eaters. So the problem when you talk about any type of martial law or anything like that, even in the regular Marine Corps, not Special Forces community, but even in the regular Marine Corps, once you start talking about that stuff, you're going to find that most of those guys, they wave the flag, and they would be more willing to help us than they would be able to help liberals. It's kind of like what's going on in Venezuela. Okay? The reason why they're having the problem in Venezuela right now is because the old leader bought the military. He bought the military. He is in charge of the military. So even though that everybody in Venezuela wants a new path, they want to elect this other guy who is a social democrat. He's not a right guy. He's a social democrat. Even though everybody wants that, they're not going to get it, because the dude with the guns wants to stay in charge. So the liberals what they have to do is create a diverse military, because I'm not pointing any fingers, but chances are, if you're a female and you're in the military, you're going to lean more liberal than you are going to lean more right. If you're homosexual, I know there are log cabin homosexuals. I know there are log cabin homosexuals, but the reality is, in that community, they're going to lean more to the left. So the more of that you can get into command and structure, the more control you can have over the military. It's like the 4-star who got fired because he wanted to take troops into Benghazi. The reality is, he should have just done it. He shouldn't have been asking for permission. He should have just took the troops into Benghazi.
The winner writes the story.
Yeah, it would have been real hard. It would have been real hard for the president to fire him at that point if they were successful.
Especially if those dudes fucking got their story out and were still alive.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know.
Think like Warrior, there's a program called Warrior 2000. The Marine Corps went in and cordoned off and took over 20 city blocks in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco. This was in the year 2000. We saw the planet. I mean, we were there when they were fucking, issuing the gear out. We saw all the cool shit. It was some fucking cool-ass gray and black camouflage with triangular patterns, all the surefire lights, all the fucking guns. Like, we saw all that shit. The Jade Helm thing, you guys are trying to add a bunch of conspiracy theory stuff into a real training operation. Because everybody wants to throw in there with it. And maybe there's some training in certain parts of Jade Helm that have to do with the prison camps and the FEMA camps and shit like that. That's real shit. If you look around, I think you're just trying to mash a couple things into one thing. If you want to know about that, just fucking look that up and start looking at it. They're all over the place. You can drive around and look at them. The barbed wire's facing inside to keep people in. It's not facing outside. Cameras. You can't get anywhere close to any of these abandoned Walmarts without security showing up. I mean, they're monitoring them for some reason. They obviously plan to use them at some point for something.
And you have to think, too, that just from a government perspective, so from a leadership perspective, if I put you in charge, you are now in charge, and I come to you and I tell you that the Chinese have just had just broken down swine flu, and they have created it so it will cross barriers, so it will now infect humans, and it's airborne. That they have this influenza that can kill more people than any disease has ever killed, and they plan on using it. What are you going to do? What is the plan? You have to make those camps. You have to have FEMA camps. You really have to have FEMA camps, because if you don't segregate that population, you'll lose everybody. So there are really scenarios. There are a lot of scenarios outside of, Nancy Pelosi wants to be queen, where those camps get used, and they get used for the purpose that were intended. You just have to think. You have to think outside of the box, man. There's some. I guarantee you that in the White House, in a file cabinet somewhere, there is a plan to nuke U.S. cities. Because if you have it's like, what was that Will Smith movie?
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend, right?
Love that. I love
that movie.
I love sitting Saturday night when it's fucking cold outside, laying on the couch in front of the big ass television, watching some fiction shit. I do it once a year.
But great movie, except for the fact that if there was a virus that was that horrific, that spread that fast, there would have been no evacuate doctor. They would just nuke it. New York City would be sacrificed to save the rest of the United States.
We've seen the vampire movie. We know what happens.
So I'm just saying.
Skully, Wiggy's has a sale on jacket liners. They are super warm and come in Marpat. Just saying.
Who? What?
Remember when Wiggy's was the shit?
Wiggy's.
Yeah, you remember the original. Before everybody was issued the 3-component system.
Right.
The sleep systems,
yeah.
the MPPS and all that. That was Wiggy's.
Yeah.
And then Wiggy's what was everybody mad at Wiggy's for? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Fuck the government. Well, it was something. I don't remember what the fuck happened with Wiggy's, but everybody jumped ship, and then Snug Pack was the cool thing.
Yeah, Snug Pack.
And you didn't have to buy a $300 for a sleeping bag. You've lost your fucking mind. And then they issue the fucking $400 sleeping bag system. Became the norm. Blackwater took out an article in a gun magazine, says we're coming. What's that about, and who are they targeting?
Blackwater?
Yeah.
I think that I did not read the article.
It was an advertisement.
Oh, I'm sure they're trying to recruit people to go to fucking the Middle East. All that everywhere you see in the Middle East where
who is that? Bang and Root? What's
Brown and Root. Everywhere in the Middle East where you see like troops pulling out or anything like that, that's getting backfilled by contractors. So I am sure that they're just on
recruiting hire. Trump's a business guy, right? Trump's a businessman. If we pull troops out, private industry goes in. Spikes industrial military complex. I mean, it's all money manipulation.
Yeah, and it's the reality is it's kind of better for it's better for us. Might not be so good for Blackwater, but it's definitely better for us if it gets to a point where it's no longer U.S. ground forces that are in the theater, because then when something fucked up happens, it's the company Blackwater that's going to pay for those repercussions.
That's the fall, man.
And where it helps the United States is if Blackwater is working for the Iraqi government, then the all the guidelines for what they can do in combat and what they can't do will come from the Iraqi government, which means technically they will be able to do more shit than U.S. forces would be able to do, because we're always worried that,
rules of engagement change.
Because of rules of engagement, we're going to shoot a fucking unarmed baby killer or something like that, and then it'll be on CNN and we look bad. Blackhawk will be able to do that shit all day long.
It's amazing how that Trump says we're gonna pull out of Syria, and fucking CNN loses their fucking mind, and then he does the State of the Union address, and CNN's poking and prodding him that he just glassed over the pulling out of Syria part. Motherfucker, make up your mind. Like, go poke that president about, talk some shit. He'll do the opposite of what you think you want to happen.
It was just funny to see all the Democrats clamoring for war.
Everyone talking crap about Pierre. I never met any of the guys yet, but have been following SOE Jaeger, well-rounded warrior, for a long time. People don't understand Pierre. He's just somewhat misunderstood. We should get him a little t-shirt that says misunderstood. I'd make it a half shirt where you can just not quite see his belly button, but it's there, so you're really looking in at the belly button. Misunderstood. People don't understand Pierre. Awesome. Josh, John, and Skully are friends in real life. Pierre seems cool. Be glad these guys share their stories, experiences, ideals. Skully's stories are great. That's Ken Schmidt. So I think Pierre's probably redeemed himself some. If you've listened to the podcast, if you're listening to this one, yesterday's was Pierre. If you're watching this one, Pierre's came up also a couple days ago.
If I had a van. If I had one of those mystery vans, like a probably more of an 80s van, not quite 70s, but with the big sliding door, that van that had the big, huge sliding door, I'd have rolled up Pierre a long time ago. But John really likes him, so
think about it.
I let that terrorist walk around.
If we dirtied Pierre up a little, put some leather work boots on him, don't let him shave for a couple days, gold chain. What's he look like? What's his occupation? I mean, other than the village people.
I mean, he could fall into a lot of different places.
Ice cream man or gyros?
Yeah, definitely gyros.
I got you.
He could fall into a lot of different places.
Man, Pierre is a dude. Pierre is a dude that can do a lot of things, and Pierre doesn't mind doing them. Like, Pierre's not just going to stand there with you while other people are watching it and tell you he's going to do some shit. Like, Pierre legitimately, he's just going to go do some shit or find the information out, and he's going to give you 3 options. Like, that's real shit. Like, Pierre is not fucking lazy. Pierre will do a lot of shit for a lot of people that other people just won't do. Not because they can't, just because they just don't fucking care, or they don't have an interest, or there's not a gain at the end of it. I would like to add to Skully on Muslim aggression. The Crusaders were a response to the aggressive expansion of Islamic society over hundreds of years.
Yep, 1,400 years.
Before, right up until Islam killed the Zoroastrian religion that dominated Mesopotamia. The Crusaders were a direct and correct response to same bullshit being exhibited today. It's no fucking different, no apology.
But, it is what it is. But until we get to that tipping point, it's always a tipping point, right? Western society in general has always had to been pushed. Western society has been pushed.
We're lazy. We're comfortable.
Comfortable. I would say comfortable. I say it's just we have to get to the point where we're no longer comfortable.
Because there's no fucking dragons here anymore.
Yeah.
While we're fucking tending our fields and reading bedtime stories to our kids, there's a fucking dude out there who's keeping the wolf out of your chicken house and from fucking eating your babies. You don't want to know how it happens. You don't want to know when it happens. You just want to know that you can read your fucking stories and stoke your fire and walk around fucking barefooted in your hut. You don't want to know how that shit happens. And then when you find out, you want to be offended at how it fucking happens. That's what the fucking problem is. The motherfuckers that are complaining the loudest and causing the fucking problems, they don't want to do the hard work, and they don't want to let the motherfuckers that do the work do it fucking in quiet. That's the fucking problem. I'm done.
That's all right. That was good.
Cause I'm just man, it's just fucking bullshit. How's the healthcare out in Camden? My wife is a nurse practitioner, and I am an AMP certification. I don't know what AMP is. What you're going to find in Camden is we have a hospital that's pretty well falling down. If you need wound closure done, that's fine. If you need anything real done, they're going to transport you someplace else. They're going to stabilize you as best they can. The dudes that are running the emergency room are they do a good job. They're way overtasked, and there's too few of them. They drive from Clarksville. They have private practices other places. Like the dude that closed my fucking head up with tape, that dude was fucking awesome. The dude that worked on Amanda when I broke her wrist and dislocated her knee. Dishes. I told her do the dishes. We were in a knife fighting class. And
that don't make it any better.
She got the
I like
worst
the
of
dishes. I like the dish thing.
Those dudes are there. The people are good. Here's what you're gonna find. If you are a nurse practitioner, you're used to making $25, $30 an hour, whatever it is. You're going to come here to Camden and you're going to work, and they're going to start you at $15, $16 an hour, most likely. Then, while you're working, your husband's working, your wife is working as a nurse, now you need daycare. You're going to find that the daycare is not cheaper here.
No.
The pay is cheaper. So now you're going to pay most, if not all of your pay to daycare, and you're not going to like the daycare that your kids are getting, so then you're going to seek public school with daycare, which is going to cost even more, and now definitely all the money you're going to make. So can you work here? Yeah, of course you can work here. Travel is your better option. Like you're going to have to drive 45 minutes to Jackson perhaps, or you're going to have to drive 90 minutes to Nashville, where we have trauma centers and heart centers and cutting edge technology. The Vanderbilts, very wealthy family through history, funded they became the pharmaceutical companies really, but I mean they funded all those hospitals and cutting edge technology. So yes, those facilities are here. You are not going to move from a big city to little town Camden and do that without a severe financial and culture shock. You could come here and open we have a fucking Dr. Barry, our doctor, is doing less hands-on medical stuff and more touring and lecturing and stuff, and seems like he's doing well for himself. There's a couple of other private clinics that have opened, and then we have like an urgent care, which is very clean, fucking brand new, and seems to be doing well.
All the urgent cares do well here.
If you can come in here and if you can provide a medical service as though it's a real business and not a Camden, Tennessee business, a legit, hey, here's your time, you be here now. If you're 10 minutes late, you miss your fucking appointment, or there's going to be a fine assessed. And if we're late, we'll fucking give you a discount. You make if you can come in and do a business in that manner, there's money to be, because I would pay you, if I could book a haircut or whatever it is, a doctor's appointment, whatever I need, and I go, hey, like, what's the no bullshit appointment? You tell me to be here at 2:05, I'll be here at 2:05. I'll even pay you an extra $50 or an extra $100 to not sit here for an hour. Because these motherfuckers bring you in, and then you sit someplace for a fucking hour around sick people. There are people who would pay more to be precise. I would.
And we have real sick people here. Like, real sick people here. Amanda went to the urgent care.
Cody fell off his motorcycle, thought he broke his wrist. Dirt bike here.
And there was somebody in there. Now I want you to
think about this.
There's somebody in there that had parvo.
A human being.
A human being that had parvo, which is not a human being thing. There's some crazy shit here. The doctor explained it to me as that this area where we live at is a bowl, and so everything, all the pollen, all the pollutants, everything is in here. And so you can see crazy shit that if you go 45 minutes to Nashville, they'll be like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Nobody gets fucking smallpox anymore. But they do in Camden, or, I live over in Waverly. But if you're a nurse practitioner, you could start you could start your own clinic here. I have my doctor's a nurse practitioner.
Like Jeff's woman came here thinking she was going to operate as a nurse. And what she found was the money, the reward versus the gain versus the time and effort put forth they didn't match. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's pretty correct.
I'm starting a jet ski farm. spreading smiles 1 gallon at a time. Has the influx of transplant residents to Camden helped slow down big company dumping and storage in the air? Fuck no.
Fuck no, man. Those contracts are what you're gonna find. What you're gonna find is those contracts. They're not year-to-year contracts. Nashville's probably got a
30
fucking
years. 30 years.
30-year lease to dump trash here, and before they're not going to get to the 30-year mark.
We don't vote on that shit.
Yeah, you don't vote on it.
You don't vote. You find out about it 2 years after it's been happening, after it's done. Like, we have a place here that catches on fire every fucking 60 days. Not like a little bit of fire. Not like Jeff with a flamethrower, oh, your arm's on fire shit. Like, legitimately on fire, see it from space, can't put it out, magnesium kind of shit.
And they never fix their roof, and it rains here all the time. Is that crazy? They never fix their roof, and it rains here all the time.
I just saw, last night, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I see one of the sheriffs talking about his broken window. And I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And 10 other people comment. They're like, yeah, I got a ding in my car. I got a broken window. Oh, yeah, I have a chipped window also. The gravel pit here in town, which is on this side of the road. And now, when we say highway, it's a 2-lane road. But they have decided, because they own the property on the other side of the highway also, and we're not talking about a road that has become busy. We're talking about the way.
Yeah,
like, it is the way. It is the fucking road. And the gravel company has decided to open a gravel pit on the other side of the way, the highway. What do? They don't put in a bridge. They don't put in a tunnel. They don't have street sweepers out there every 15 minutes cleaning this shit up. They are driving big, heavy equipment. And I'm not talking about some shit Jeff and I rent.
Big stuff. The real
We're
stuff.
talking Volvo, dump trucks. I mean, the big mining shit. And they're literally just driving it across the road. There is, like, literally, I can't drive. I physically could not drive either of my Porsches down that road after those tractors, because we're talking 6-10 inches of shit. We're talking about having to slow down in a fucking big ass pickup truck so that it doesn't bump you off the road kind of shit. Now, with that said, nobody fucks with you out here when you're doing anything, so just know where you're coming.
Yeah.
Like, know where you're coming. Am I going to go down there and fucking complain? No, I'm not. I'm just going to drive a different direction. Like, they own both sides of the road. I don't know whether they owned it before that road was there. Not my problem. Amanda will just have to take a truck, which we do anyways, to go to the post office. It doesn't keep us from anything. But I have had my vehicles washed and literally drive through there right after a sprinkle, and your shit is fucking wrecked again. Because, like, they have the equipment, they have the infrastructure, they could have a dude out there cleaning that shit up, and those threads wouldn't be on Facebook, and they wouldn't be good. Like, I won't have to take them to court. I promise you, one of these dudes with a broken window is going to haul them to court, and the judge is going to be like, hey, Billy, you really got to use that fucking street sweeper we know you own, that kind of shit. I don't know why I started off on that. Has it changed? No, so that's the deal. Any little tiny, you want to live in a small town? Those are small town fucking problems. Don't feel bad, John. I'm in Kentucky and I'm literally dealing with the same shit. I need a fucking stump cut down by 2 feet and tried for over a year to get somebody to come out here and cut it. And if things went right, I had more work. If it all went right, that is, laugh out loud, turned out to be some junkie that could cut a straight line with me guiding. So what he's saying is, this was just a little job, and if he did this job right, he was going to give the dude more work. My saw tore up, so I thought it would be easier to just get a guy to come out and saw it out. Jesus, was I wrong? Should have gone your route and just overpaid. So it was done right once. I got to grind down the stump today to level myself after paying somebody to do it. Welcome to country living. I'm a blacksmith who needed a stump for an anvil. Had to have it, unfortunately. Podcast is awesome. Love the new EDC Zombie Green. Keep it up. Right on, Josh Major. Right on.
I had to have a tree cut back. The guys that cut it back came from Florida.
No shit.
No shit. Came from Florida.
Like, we see... So, there are dudes here in town with tree cutting equipment. A lot of them aren't bonded. We also see people in town here cutting equipment that are driving here from Nashville or Kentucky with the exact same equipment.
Yeah.
Why? Because the dudes, the local dudes, they're just going to be like, yeah, I'll get over there and cut it. They don't give you a time when they're going to be there. Ideally, they want to cut it when you're not there to watch them fucking possibly destroy your house. Whereas you call the dude from Nashville, he will tell you, yes, at Tuesday at 2:15, we will be there with 8 guys. We will be on your property for 6 hours. That's just it, man. Small time, and it's like small town time versus legitimate business. That's kind of the deal. As of the 7th of February 2019, here in the UK, deaths from stabbing are the highest since World War II. Yes, we're a little island of head-banging loons. If only we could have, or better not, the craft blade. Oh yes, box cutter. I think you call them. By craft, I mean hobby knife. In the UK, company called Stanley is closely associated with a box cutter knife. So, I'd normally say Stanley blade. The video showed someone sharpening the blade just prior to cutting what looks like foam type panel. That all makes sense now. This gladdened my heart. Great use of resources. Thank you also, Skully use of turd burglars.
Turd burglars. That would be interesting. You have a rise of stabbings.
But no guns.
I know you don't want to hear this, but the reality is you need to break that. You need to break that down by ethnicity, because that's the only way you're going to identify a real problem. And I will bet.
And nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to look at who's doing it. They just want to blame the tool.
I'll bet you will find a correlation to higher stabbing rates and your influx of individuals coming into that country.
I.e., who are we saying? Just
I don't know. Could be anybody. Could be Italians. Could be Muslims. Could be.
It's probably not Italians.
Shark people. Yeah, I don't think the Italians are going to England.
Yeah, and the Italians aren't fucking just slicing motherfuckers up with a box blade either.
So, just an interesting thing. I know all my liberal friends are going to be like, "You're such a fucking racist."
How's your chemical and acid attacks going?
Yeah, they're going up too. It's just the truth. Third world people bring third world problems.
How's France? I just say that because of their governor or fucking whoever was like, yeah, send them on in, we'll take them all.
Yeah. Well, the mayor of London is actually a Muslim.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I just bought a 2018 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Congratulations, downrange. I'm looking at 3.5 to 6 inches of lift. What brand do you prefer? I've been reading about Total Chaos. Thoughts? Okay, so for you guys that don't know, a 3.5 to a 6 inch lift on a box fucking Chevy, 1991 or older Chevy, or full size F-250, we've got them both sitting out front. That ain't shit. Like a 3.5 inch lift is nothing. A 6 inch lift barely gets you 33s. With a little bit of trimming, you put 35s. You can put 37s with a little more lift and some trimming. What you guys don't realize who are not Toyota guys, 3.5 inches of lift to 6 inches of lift is the difference between a $2,000 lift and an $8,000 lift. It's not just putting on 6 inches of lift. You have to do a lot of other shit. And then you've got to gear the front and rear end. And when you gear it, you're talking axle changing. There's a lot that goes with that.
Even with a 3-inch?
Not as much. But you're still doing like 3.5 inch lift. Your dealer will still do a 3.5 inch lift and not void your warranty, depending like with an Icon lift or something. Total Chaos is definitely the way to go. It's real shit. If you're really going to build this thing and go out in the middle of nowhere, if you want durability, and like they're racing that shit in Baja. Like that's a legit company doing real shit. Look at tactical vehicle, tactical expedition vehicles. I want to say they're out of Utah. They do a lot of Total Chaos stuff. They're building totally killer rigs. Like, if you go in, you're like, I want to run 37s, they're going to be like, you can't run 37s. I want to run 35s, they're like, you're really pushing the envelope. You want to run 33s, yeah, you can do that. Most people will comfortably do that. Check out Max Powell on YouTube. You're looking for your overland communities. Look at your overland communities on Facebook, your overland groups, and just pose that question. It gets asked every day, and you're going to get real answers from dudes who have done it. And you're going to get real answers from dudes doing it that are actually out there using their shit. Not where, yeah, you've got 35s on your truck, but you can only fucking turn, half of your turning radius. You have to have proper offset. There's a lot of shit that goes with that. I have not lifted my truck. My truck is all stock, my TRD Pro. I haven't taken it anywhere yet that it hasn't gone. We've taken it out a few times. But it's a lot more involved than just lifting up a fucking full-size truck. It is. It's definitely doable. You're going to pay money. And typically with this stuff, the more money you pay, you're going to get more for your money.
What are you going to put on yours? Are you going to 33 it, or are you going to go bigger?
Probably just 33s. So to go, you can do 35s. You got to gear it front and rear. There's other shit coming with it. It's not a matter of a $5,000 suspension kit. It's a matter of a $5,000 suspension kit, $4,000 in tires and wheels, and then you got to get in there and re-gear it and do all the other shit with it. Do not rule out fiberglass fenders and bedsides. There's a lot of trucks out there, pre-runners and stuff, and overland trucks. There's a lot of trucks out there running big tires without having to run huge lift by running the fiberglass. Chad McNeil, I knew Chad McNeil. I've met a couple of the McNeil brothers. They're building their fiberglass down in Baja, in Rosarito. I've actually been there where they were fucking building this shit, and then bringing it up over the state into San Diego. I want to say they were Lakeside or somewhere.
Lakeside, probably.
Those kits are decent. There's definitely cleaner kits out there, but those kits work. You're going to need somebody to prep it. You're going to need somebody to fucking spray it. I mean, you can do it yourself, but I'm not a paint guy. I know enough about painting to know I'm not going to fucking paint some fiberglass. But with the fiberglass, you get a bigger bulge. You got a bigger cut and a bulge, so the tire will actually travel, and then you can run different offset tires. Now, running offset, as you also know, the wider out you put that stance, the more fucking pressure and the more weak everything else becomes. Like I've got 37s on a truck out front. Truck's super strong, but it eats up front end parts. And I'm talking like not even beating them. I mean driving to Nashville for 2 years, occasionally on the weekend kind of shit. Those big trucks out there, like it seems like every couple years we're putting $2,000 in the front end and fucking tie rods and fucking U-joints and fucking pitman arms and steering rack and steering box. It fucking, the bigger you make shit, the more it amplifies wear. I know that's not the answer you're looking for. Total Chaos is really good shit. Check them out. If you want a kind of out of the box type of thing, like you'll see suspension kits like Icon comes with all the stuff, and then you'll see dudes that are really running their shit, and their suspension kit seems to have less parts to it because they're doing it through better suspension, better dampening, and not necessarily like a bracket lift that just kind of lifts all the pivot points and stuff. On a Toyota, I'm really not the dude to ask, I guess. Okay, I'm here to end this. No more y'all or you people. The John and Skully are now y'all people.
Y'all people. You got that? Y'all peoples.
There
should be an S on the end of it.
Last night I discovered by accident that the podcast app on the phone can play the podcast at different speeds. Yes, most will. You can actually speed it up 50% or, so that you can actually get through it and still be coherent. At half speed, yours and Skully's Cali accents are more pronounced, and you guys sound like a cross between Cheech and Chong or some character from Idiocracy. It didn't matter if you guys were talking about the government shutdown or mice getting into tampons. The timing and inflection had me laughing so hard I could barely keep the car on the road. Cobra dog collar and canine leash arrived this week. Right on. You probably should have them by now, huh? Gorgeous Typhon in blue. As always, and a million times more solid than the junk we had before. Stupid question. But what are the extra D-rings for on the leash? So that leash was made by Air Force canine handler specs. And they could actually take that center point and clip it up and choke in, or click the back point all the way in, thus halving the leash. So it kind of just you could shorten the handle, is what it was for. What up, fuckers?
What up?
Awesome to have story time with you guys. It helped me kick the shoe porn addiction. Love hearing...
Why would you want to kick the shoe porn addiction?
Love hearing stories from Skully, and it's cool that we get to see how cool you really are, John. Ha! Ha! They just like your stories on the cool
That's all right. You can be the cool one.
Like the rants you go on about stupid bullshit. What's your take on anti-vaxxers? Jeff has a really good take on anti-vaxxers. Been seen on Facebook a lot lately.
Take them out in the woods and drown them. That's what I say about anti-vaxxers. If you're... Once again, you know, I say this all the time, and everybody keeps... I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but people are comfortable. You're comfortable because... You know why you're comfortable? Because vaccines work. Vaccines keep us from losing hundreds of thousands of kids every year. You're comfortable because those vaccines work. And now you have all these fucking YouTube moms that think they know better than polio, or they know better than smallpox, or they know better than fucking... What did they just have? They just had...
Smallpox, wasn't it?
No, they have... L.A. County's got it right now. It's not smallpox, but it's another one of those... You have outbreaks... Whooping cough. Whooping cough was destroyed in the United States. But you fucking people in California who think you know better than fucking doctors, you had all those children get whooping cough. You know, it's really easy to be anti this or anti that when you haven't lost a child.
Or seen the disease.
You know, it's real easy to be that way, and you have to have that. There are certain people in the United States that cannot get vaccines because of autoimmune deficiencies, and in order to keep those people alive, you have to have a herd. You have to have the herd mentality. If almost everybody in the herd is vaccinated, then that one person is not going to get sick. Well, all these parents and stuff who have not been vaccinating their children, the only reason why their children have not been getting sick is not because they didn't get the vaccine. It's because everybody else has been getting the vaccine. But here's the problem. The problem is this. You have all these people that are coming from far reaches of the planet to come to the United States.
That we're letting.
And they are bringing all those diseases back into the United States. So if you think there's no way your child is going to get smallpox, guess what? They just arrested somebody trying to illegally come across the border with fucking smallpox. All you're doing is risking the life of your child over some foolish nonsense that you don't know anything about why you're doing it, except you saw a fucking video of somebody who is not a doctor talking about there's mercury in there, don't do it. There's fucking mercury everywhere. There's mercury in the water you drink. Just get your children vaccinated. Please.
Do you remember playing with mercury?
I do. We used to play with mercury in school.
Fifth grade. We used to hold it in our hands.
I collected mercury when I was at SOTG. Whenever we go into the buildings, they were getting destroyed. Every time I saw a fucking the old heater thermostat element, I'm like, oh man, mercury. Let me get that.
Yep.
Oh shit. Get vaccinated.
So my wife and I just got our first apartment. 2 bedroom, 1 bath. How should we start to prep for shit hit the fan? Love the gear. Love the rifle case. My black cop rig should be home when I get back into town Friday. Thanks, guys, and I'm rooting for Skully and his saw. Pew pew, suckers.
That's the problem. Is you just moved into an apartment, so you're going to be your space premium, right? What you're going to need to do is find space. You're going to need to find the space that you don't know is the space. So, you know, look at the bottom of your closets. A lot of times we don't put a lot of stuff in the bottom around the corner of our closets because we're hanging clothes in there.
Get rid of your box spring. Get some action packers. You see a lot of Mormons have all their canned food under their first mattress there.
That's what I was going to say. The next place is underneath your bed. Pull all the fucking Christmas wrapping paper out of there and throw it away and start putting water and food under there. The next thing you're going to need is a gun, man. Unfortunately,
I'm saying he's got a gun. If he just bought a fucking cop rig and some other shit.
Oh, but I'm just putting it out there in the sense of if you're living in a building, if you're living in that type of environment, 7 days. That's all it's going to take. 7 days. It'll only take 7 days before your neighbor will be knocking on your door looking for what you have. So make sure, no matter how cool you are, I don't care how cool you are with your neighbors, when you're putting that stuff in there, nobody needs to know about it. Nobody needs to know about it. Nobody, not your best friend, nobody. They don't need to know about it. If you want to help people, make it your choice. Don't let them make it their choice, because it's not going to end the way you think it is. Even though once again, you might be surrounded by a bunch of cool people, but if they're not preparing in the same manner that you are, it only takes one hungry kid or one hungry girlfriend yelling at her man 100 times that I know that motherfucker upstairs has food before they're going to come knocking at your door. And it's very rarely that it's one person. So I just would be careful about what you store. And if you get to a point where you can, man, and I know it's economy of space, make some giveaway stuff. Get some paint cans full of beans and rice that you can just be like, hey, I can't, there's no room for you to stay here, but here, take this and go eat it.
Not only that, let's go a little bit different direction with this. I don't know how old you are. I'm assuming you're pretty young since you guys just got your first apartment. I don't know if it's yours and her first apartment together and you're a little bit older. I know you want to go do all the prep stuff and do all the fun shit and you want to buy gear and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you, suck it up. It's going to fucking suck. Suck it up for a year and save all your money and then get the fuck out of the apartment. Get out of the apartment. Have a plan for if the apartment burns down. Have some shit at a friend's house, a parent's house, in a storage unit, something like that. Something that's less likely to burn down or have a problem than your apartment. Someplace, for some reason, you can't get to your apartment. Everybody listening to this right now, land is never getting cheaper. If there's never going to be any more of it, it's never going to change. Stop buying SOE gear. Stop going and training. Stop buying guns. Have a gun, have a car, have some transportation. Even if it fucking, as much as it sucks, you and your girlfriend, if this is really who you're going to be with the rest of your lives, have one car and fucking share it. Suck it up, do the hard shit, save the money, put it away, fucking go on walks in the park, and once a month you guys go out to dinner and go see a movie. Other than that, you go to the shopping mall and you guys just walk around and you exercise, you do whatever it is. Save your money and get you a fucking place to live that is yours. Wherever that is, whatever that is. Get some place that is yours, and then everything you do to it will be an investment in your future. Everything you do to it will raise the property value of it. I'm telling you, if fucking people told me that when I was young, if I'd have listened, fucking we would own this place. Like, we would have fucking castles right now had we just bought a little bit of property when we were younger.
Especially in California.
Yeah, anywhere, guys.
Especially in California.
I know that's not what you're looking for. And I'm sure that if you ask some more specific questions, give us some more info, we'll definitely talk about it some more. We've been in here over an hour.
Man, we haven't even... What do we do, like 2 pages?
Yeah, we got a lot of shit still to do, though. Fucking... Because we're bailing right out of here at 5.
Oh, okay.
We'll hit a couple more of these. Oh, he said wife. Good. Congratulations.
Congratulations, yep.
I think he meant 20 chicks. Yeah, chicks in the shower. By chance,
saw
the rifle bag giveaway live on Facebook. Please simulcast live feeds on YouTube if possible. So here's the deal. YouTube's weird. Sometimes I can do a live feed on YouTube. Sometimes I can't. To do it on YouTube, here's the real problem. You guys don't fucking interact enough. Like, yeah, you guys are here on YouTube. When I turn on fucking Facebook, there's fucking 300, 400, 500 people on at one time. When I turn on YouTube, there's 20 people on YouTube. So, you guys, rather than trying to make all those motherfuckers from Facebook come over here, you guys, go get a goddamn Facebook account. Because most of you have them. I know Facebook's evil and your wife won't let you have it or whatever. Grow some fucking nuts and control your life and go get a Facebook page. But that's the reality of it is, I'm holding the phone on Instagram. I'm doing this on Facebook. Sometimes we can do a live feed from YouTube. Last couple months I couldn't because I had a copyright violation from a video that was 2 years fucking old. Facebook, YouTube can't make up their mind over shit. So sometimes we can broadcast and sometimes it won't. I literally 2 days ago got a ding and a notification on my phone that I can now live feed on YouTube. Well, guess what, YouTube? Fuck you guys. Not you, but
YouTube.
It's not worth fucking with them.
YouTube.
YouTube, out of everybody, YouTube has changed their shit and done more damage to people's companies than any of the other social media has. So, YouTube is possible. The building stories are so similar to stuff I experienced in South Africa. Even deadlines and penalty payments don't work. Gavin McInnes is suing SPLC for defamation. Should be fun. After SODU, I think chances for Trump 2020 are getting better and better. Interesting podcast as always. Thanks.
If Trump really could just, if Twitter would fucking close his account and he couldn't tweet anymore, and people kind of just forgot about him for a minute, if he could just go golfing or go hang out in China for a couple months and not do any of that stuff, he would have a real good chance in 2020, because the Democrats are losing their fucking mind. Apparently every Democrat there ever was has did some blackface bullshit in the 80s. I don't get it. But the Democrats are losing their mind, and they're going to keep going further and further and further to the left. And then if Trump just kind of flies back in the United States and just highlights all the crazy shit that Democrats are doing, there's no way they can beat him.
Nick Primo says, you could have mic dropped after the line, isn't that what you do? Referring to getting a check. I'm not sure what we're talking about.
We're talking about that guy who came in here a bunch of times for a job and tried to work at Jaegers and shit.
Yeah. Dinosaur Rose Bush is a good way to define that. Laugh out loud. So hard to kill these fucking things too. Skully, they have no idea. Most people can't do it. Skully, special theory of relativity. Fix the things relative to you. Better life.
Better life. That's it.
Like, think about it. How many, like, even on our podcast, right? We spend a lot of time talking about stuff. We can analyze it and break it down, and you can get opinions on it, and we're talking about it. But if we didn't know it, it wouldn't affect us negatively not to know it. Like, especially politics.
Yeah.
If you turn the television off, and we only did this podcast about things, if television didn't exist, we could still do the podcast without knowing any current events or politics. It would be a very different podcast. We talk about what you guys type here, but would your life be better this weekend? Like, think about it. You're not worrying about politics over the weekend. We're talking about that at the water cooler and at the gym or wherever you're talking about it. It's not there anymore. Boom, there's no more politics. We don't know anything about who's president or not president or anybody that doesn't directly affect us and can't touch us today. Your life would be a lot fucking more comfortable. It'd be a lot happier this weekend, that's for sure. Today's Friday, by the way, guys. Pretty fucked up for John not to like you. You got to be pretty fucked up for John not to like... I haven't even read any of these. Thanks for replying about the Glock 48. I agree with you. I also prefer the 1911, mainly because it fits better in my hands. I agree with y'all about getting up and doing something that you can accomplish rather than being angry with something you can't fix. Thanks for the podcast. Been really enjoying them. It's like this. So let's talk about our property right here. When you drive on the property, it's flat. It's a driveway in. To your right, there's a slight embankment. We put a pond up there. It's not a giant pond, but it's very deep. It actually holds a lot of water. It's 35 feet deep. When you drive in the side here, there's fruit trees. There's 40, 50 fruit trees. It would be like us wanting to dig a pond, and we're so busy waiting because we can't afford a tractor, and we're lazy, so we don't want to dig it with shovels. So we're just going to keep talking about getting the fucking tractor, and we're going to keep fucking around getting the tractor when the whole time we could have just dug some easy fucking holes and put some trees in over here. Everybody's so fucking worried about the shit they can't fix when there's shit literally all around you that you can do. It's just like improving property value. your house needs a new roof, but you can't afford the new roof, so I'm just going to stop fucking mowing and I'm going to mope about it. And pretty soon I'm going to start getting fines and shit because you live in some fucking shitty ass city where they can fine you for not mowing your grass. Like, there's plenty of shit you can do. It all really just starts with you. What?
It just reminded me of Temecula. So Temecula had its own water district. Where I was living at, Temecula was in its own water district. It had its own water, and when California was having a drought, technically Temecula was not having a drought because Temecula was smart enough to put in more reservoirs to support the population in the area. But California was having a drought. So I got a ticket from the state of California for using too much water because I have a grass lawn in my front yard. So I got a ticket for using too much water from the state of California. So what do? You just, okay, I'm not going to fucking water the lawn anymore. And then in like 2 months, I got a ticket from Temecula saying, hey, fuckface, your grass is dead. You need to water your lawn. That's the kind of bureaucracy that liberals create. And the lawn was mowed. I mowed it even though it turned yellow and died. So it wasn't like there was cactuses and tumbleweeds blowing through my lawn. It was literally, we need your grass to be green. Temecula, thank you. Pay the $50.
Fucking crazy. All right, let's cut this off.
Oh, we're going to cut it off? All right.
I still got to go over to the other building and do all the animals.
What do you got to do to the animals?
Unfortunately, you have to feed them, and when you feed them, they poop. So you
got to clean the
and feed
poopsies.
them. And then sometimes they want water, so you have to poop,
Feed them,
clean,
drink them.
water, food, and then there's a lot of dishwashing that goes with all of that.